Hi everybody and welcome back to Lost Genre Reddit Stories. This post is from the subreddit Am I the A-hole and it's by user YourGirlfriend11. Am I the a-hole for telling my brother Jose he should stop expecting me to financially support him when he's in his mid-30s and still refusing to get a full-time job? So here's the situation. I, 28 female, have a brother, Jose, 35 male, who's been living off of part-time gigs, handouts from family, and whatever he can scrape together for as long as I can remember. A few months ago, he asked me for a pretty large sum of money to help him out, because he's in between jobs, even though this isn't the first time. He said he was going to use it to pay rent for the month, but I found out he had actually spent it in a concert ticket for himself and his friends. I got really frustrated because at his age, I feel like he should be more responsible, especially considering that he has been given multiple chances to stabilize his life. I told him that it wasn't fair to keep asking family for money when he's not even trying to find a steady job. I even suggested he start looking into getting some proper work even if it's not ideal and stop relying on getting by with gigs and temporary stuff. He got really upset and accused me of not understanding his creative lifestyle and that I'm too caught up in conventionality. He also said that I was selfish for not supporting him in his struggle because apparently everyone else in the family has been helping him. Now, he's not speaking to me and I feel guilty, but at the same time, I'm kind of at my limit with him not making any real effort. So, am I the a-hole for telling Jose to stop expecting me to support him? No, OP, of course you're not the a-hole. There's a difference between where you live and your brother lives. You live in reality, where you understand that if you want to live a certain way as an adult, you gotta bankroll it yourself. And his creative struggle doesn't make him special in any way, and it is not yours or your family's responsibility to carry his weight. And of course he didn't like what you suggested because it meant actually being accountable and responsible for himself. Apparently, your family keeps enabling him, but you shouldn't have to do the same thing if you don't want to. Additionally, his reaction by claiming to be some sort of a victim because he's so creative and now not talking to you just speaks a lot about how mature he is. So I wouldn't really worry about it, OP, because this is not the last of him in the sense that anybody who leaves without getting kicked out comes back without being invited. He is going to try to get some money from you again. And what do you guys think? Let me know in the comments section, and now let's move on to the community comments. Canvas Shoes 2 says, not the a-hole. You understand his creative lifestyle better than he does and you're not willing to fund it. He can live his creative lifestyle all he wants on his own dime. You know he's not going to stop this unless forced to stop it. Friends and family giving him money is not helping him, it's hindering him. He can never grow all the way up and learn to fly on his own with such a huge safety net beneath him. Cut him off, cold. And OP responds, yes, I am starting to think the same way. Miserable Floor 9906 says, you're the a-hole for enabling his lazy ass, not writing him off sooner and lacking the self-esteem to clearly recognize you're being abused. F him deserves no contact for at least a decade. Context: someone who is actually part of a very large but healthy family. And Masked Cloak says, as others have said, not the a-hole so long as you stop enabling him. Look, I'm a mess. I need a lot of help in my life. I'm no freeloader though. The only person anyone should be going to for crap like this is their parents, sometimes. I could totally paint myself as a tortured artist who doesn't want to abide by conventionality, but I also don't want to be effing homeless, and because of the shoes I'm in, that means taking care of myself. I'd love to just have people give me money so I could write all day and actually use the money to live on instead of buying concert tickets. But yeah, the world don't work that way. Your brother is also way too old to have not figured this out. If he were 21, 22, hell, I could even give him 25, it would kinda be a different story. But 35? F off, man, your brother's a freeloader. While I wouldn't necessarily tell him all this, I'd just stand firm and tell him you can't support him anymore with money and stuff. He's an adult and he can take care of himself. You could say to him that instead of mooching off other people, he could try to come up with creative solutions to fulfill his dream of living unconventionally. There's nothing creative or unconventional about freeloading. Sloth is as old as time. And Opie responds, wow, that's a really nice point. I would think the same way if he was not my brother, but I am done with this situation. So the community says Opie is not the a-hole, and it sounds like she's absolutely over this thing and is going to stand her ground. So let's move on to the update to see how this story ends. Okay, I need to share something wild. So after I posted yesterday, I wasn't expecting the response I got, but here's the plot twist. My brother Jose showed up at my place this morning. He wasn't just upset, he was furious. Honestly, the conversation was even worse than I expected. He told me straight to my face that I was ruining his life and that I was no better than the rest of the family who enables him. He went on and on about how I've never understood his struggle as a creative person and how it's unfair that I don't support him in the way he needs. He also accused me of being a robot in a capitalist world and said I was too obsessed with normal life to appreciate what it's like to live with passion. Here's the real kicker. He actually had the nerve to say that I was selfish for expecting him to be responsible because apparently that's not how artists work. He then dropped the bomb that he's been living like this for years because he's not meant to conform to the system and that I should learn to let go of the idea that everyone should be stable. This was a whole new level of denial. He genuinely thinks the family is supposed to fund his lifestyle because it's his artistic journey. Wow, talk about main character syndrome. I'm honestly in shock. I get that he wants to live differently, but at what point is he just refusing to grow up? How is it my problem that he refuses to even try to get a stable job, especially when he's wasted so many chances? I mean, he literally asked me for money and then blew it on a concert. How is that anything but manipulation? I finally told him that he needs to figure out his own life because I'm done being a safety net. It's one thing to help out occasionally, but this has become a pattern and I'm not his personal ATM. The worst part? He tried to guilt trip me into feeling bad for not helping as if I owe him because the family always does. I don't know if he's ever going to see my point of view. Honestly, I think he's too far gone. But one thing's for sure, I won't be manipulated into continuing to support this cycle. He needs to wake up and face reality. I do feel bad that our relationship is strained, but I'm not going to apologize for demanding accountability. So, to wrap it up, I'm still standing by what I said. I have every right to expect him to get his act together. He needs to take responsibility for his own life. And the rest of the family can't keep enabling him. If he's mad at me for setting boundaries, so be it. I refuse to be part of the problem anymore. Well, Opie, good for you. I honestly don't think he's ever going to see your point of view because that would mean that he needs to be responsible for himself, and it's so much easier just pretending like you're a victim and let everybody else bail you out. And finding excuses is the easiest job in the world. So again, good for you, Opie, and here's wishing you the best. Now, let's move on to the next post that also has an update. This post is from the subreddit True Off My Chest and is by user I Throw Him Away. I, female 23, found out 7 months ago that my boyfriend, male 26, has been cheating on me, but I haven't told him I know. I found out while he was away for work. A girl he slept with sent me a DM on Instagram. She told me everything and even sent pictures. I remember staring at my screen, my heart pounding, my hands shaking. I felt like my entire world had just shattered. I didn't even respond, lol. I just sat there, drowning in pain. I finally understood what meant to have a dagger to the heart. Anyways, I made a decision I wouldn't confront him. Instead, I grieved and mourned our relationship like it had already died. I've been with him for 3 years. I thought everything was going perfect. I didn't see this coming at all. That entire week, I was alone, cycling through every emotion imaginable. And this might sound crazy, but there was a part of me that almost needed to feel the pain. Like I was clinging to it, letting it consume me. And this may sound emo, but it felt good. I can't explain it, but I felt alive. Maybe this is borderline masochistic, but whatever. This is how I wanted to cope. Meanwhile, the girl kept messaging me. More pictures, more details, receipts, lol, and even videos. It just got worse and worse. It turned into taunts and cursing. It felt like she was desperate for us to break up, but I never responded. Instead, I kept reading her messages over and over, torturing myself with the truth, until at some point it didn't hurt anymore and I started to feel numb. He was still himself, sweet and caring and affectionate. Like, honestly, I wouldn't have suspected a thing if that girl didn't DM me. He would sometimes catch on I'm acting off and I'd blame my hormones or stress from work and he would buy it. I pretended everything was fine and he would have noticed something was deeply wrong if he wasn't busy cheating. I think it also helped we got along very well as roommates and friends. We were still having sex. He was a generous lover, too generous even, and it helped bear with it all. I lied saying my implant fell out, so we began using condoms, and I got myself tested regularly. Thankfully, I was clean the whole time. I eventually started seeing him as someone I lived with, and we just happened to have sex. It took months, but one day something inside me shifted, like the love I had for him started fading. I went through every stage of grief. Now I feel free and lighter. I know I can live without him, and that realization is the most liberating feeling. This is the craziest part. Everything I once found beautiful about him started to look distorted. I started to see his flaws. It was like I was under a spell, adoring and loving this man, and now, when I look at him, I'm like, how? Lol. This week, I'm moving into my own place, and I'm finally breaking up with him. I'm mentally checked out and at peace with myself. I am okay. I feel a sense of dread, but also relief that I will finally break up with him. It took 7 months to finally get over him. I don't know if I'll tell him that I know he cheated on me or just say I don't want you anymore or just ghost him. All I know is I'm breaking up with him. Well, OP, I understand that everybody grieves in different ways, but I'm not sure I could have done the same as you. However, the end result for you apparently is a good one. You're checked out and you're ready to move on. Now, regarding how you tell him, you mentioned in the beginning that the girl messaging you was kind of like insistent in sending you messages because she may have wanted you to break up. Maybe she wants a relationship with him, and she actually outed him on his cheating because she wanted him all to herself. I'd be a little bit petty and actually tell him, it was this girl who told me about your cheating. You're a fair partner. That way, even though it's not the same, he also feels a sense of betrayal, and you would nuke their relationship as well. But again, that's a petty approach. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comment section, and now let's check out the community comments. Medium-sized Mace says, you should absolutely tell him you know he cheated. He shouldn't be absolved. Ghost him and leave the screenshots, but at least let him know that you know he's a piece of crap. And OP responds, I have a private folder on my phone with everything I saved. I was just using it to keep my feelings in check. This is a good idea. Akimbo Slice 1 says, at first I thought you went about it wrong, but you took your time to build your strength and heal. I guess we each have our own journey. That being said, please ghost him and give him no closure. That will mentally mess him up for his betrayal for years to come. And OP responds, my initial goal wasn't to heal, but to feel. I didn't know what I was doing. I ended up healing anyway, and I'm glad it worked out. If I ghosted, it would definitely mess him up. Besides, the relationship, we were best friends. I know some things too says, leave printed screenshots of every message she sent you over the past 7 months. Change your number or block him and block him on everything. He gets nothing more from you. Also, if you are close with his family, tell them the truth before he twists it. Same with your friends. Make it factual. X has been cheating on me for months. His affair partner sent me videos and pictures if you don't believe me. I have moved out and will no longer be having any contact with him or any of our friends who knew about it and didn't tell me. Gobsmacked247 says, honestly OP, you rocked this. You should give seminars on how to survive a cheating partner. For maximum FU effect, I wouldn't tell him why you are leaving. It's not like he told you. Leave him to wonder, what the F, just as you did. Leave him to cycle through all of the emotions, just as you did. Leave him to think everything was okay and being blindsided by someone who he thought would never hurt him, just as you did. Congratulations OP for surviving one of the worst pains imaginable. Like a phoenix, rise from the ashes, but make sure to scorch him on the way out. Senior Revolution 70 says, is he still cheating with her? How do they know each other? I'm glad you found yourself. The trauma of cheating is the same of losing someone to death and the recovery as well. You have to mourn it and accept it in order to heal. I would inform family and friends, leave evidence for him that you know and ghost him. She can have him. She won, a liar and cheater. Big deal. And OP responds, literally felt like someone died. The pain was excruciating. I look back and just see myself from 7 months ago. I didn't think I'd survive. I think I also stuck around because of the shame of it all. I do plan on telling everyone we broke up, but I don't think I'm gonna go into detail. I just want peace, to be honest. Okay, well everybody had a lot of creative ideas as to what OP should do now, so let's move on to the update to see how this story ends. I finally moved out early in the morning, right after he left for work. It was his place and I didn't have much to begin with, so the move was easy. I'd been slowly filling up my new place over the past month, getting everything ready so I could leave without a hassle. A lot of you suggested I ghost him, but I couldn't. That's just not me. I don't like disappearing on people, even when they deserve it. So, instead, I came back that evening and waited for him to get home from work around 7 p.m. I was nervous, but also kind of relieved for it all to finally be over. When he walked in, I was sitting at the dining table wearing my coat. He immediately sensed something was off. He asked me where I was going, and I told him, home. He laughed and said, but you are home, clearly trying to play it off, but he could tell something was up. Then I sent everything I'd been collecting, screenshots, videos, all of it, to his WhatsApp. He looked confused and asked why I was texting him, and then he opened the messages. I watched the color drain from his face. I didn't think I'd enjoy it, but I did. He went pale, breathing heavily, and just placed his phone on the table, staring at me like I was a ghost. I didn't say anything, just watching him. Then came the begging. He grabbed my hand, apologized over and over, said he didn't mean to cheat, claimed he ended it 3 months ago, that she meant nothing, and how much he loves me and wants to marry me. I told him we're never getting married. It's over, and I didn't say anything else. That's when he broke down crying like a child. I was honestly disgusted. I stood there watching him on his knees, clutching my legs, begging for forgiveness, and I felt nothing. No sympathy, no sadness, just done. I was completely checked out. I didn't want to say much to him. I just felt numb and it felt pointless. Eventually, he turned into this emotional, sweaty, sobbing mess. When he went to the bathroom, I grabbed my last backpack and left. It's finally over. I'm grateful I don't love him anymore. It was an unconventional way to get over someone, but it worked for me. Thank you for all of the kind messages. Well, OP, you handled it like a boss. Again, I don't know if I could have done what you did and stayed with him for 7 months, but the way you went about it, just telling him that way and then just leaving when he was sobbing and went to the bathroom to put himself together and probably keep begging, fantastic. Well done, OP. So here's wishing you the best in the future. Thanks so much for sharing and take care. And that's it for today's video. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch it. Now, if you've gotten to this point in the video, I assume that you like these stories that I'm reading out. So here are a couple more that you might enjoy. And if you don't have any time to watch another story right now, save it for later. And also, don't forget to hit that subscribe button.